Seeker. It is Tuesday, May 26th, 2020. The top news story this evening is the killing of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer. And in the headlines tonight, rioting on East 33rd Street. And reportedly, the National Guard is being deployed. That's the latest. But what I want to do is show you how, once again, a psychological operation is being waged against the American people for the purpose of divide and conquer. And that is one of the mainstream media's sole purposes, to keep us divided, to keep us ignorant, to keep us in fear, to keep our heads full of things that they don't need to be full of. And there's a lot of things wrong that should stand out on the surface with this psychological operation, but we're going to do it one more time. We're going to talk about the rioting on East 33rd Street. What I'm wondering right now is if the rioters are even from Minneapolis, or if they were bussed in like they were for Ferguson, Missouri, and Baltimore for Michael Brown and Freddie Gray, respectively. We're also going to talk about the NBA player Steven Jackson, who's 42 years old, calling this man his twin. We'll get to that. And we're going to talk about what's up with the Minneapolis mayor, because I think he's the man who really needs to get called out for this. No doubt he's in on the psyop. So, let's just watch a little bit of the riot footage. And don't worry about the sound. The sound doesn't matter. All you really need to see is the East 33rd Street, which should be front and center on your screen. And again, East 33rd. What did I talk about even before this happened? How they encoded 33 in this story, which reminds of the Rodney King beatings that incited riots in Los Angeles. What day was the Rodney King beating? March 3rd, 3-3, the same day they buried Trayvon Martin, the same number they use in all of these psychological operations. One of my oldest videos from 2014 was the U.S. Army Psychological Operations Field Manual, and how the psychological operations done in the media were rule number 33. To go back and dig up that video if I can. Again, if you're new here, the channel has been deleted 19 times. That's not an exaggeration. That's how many times Google has literally deleted my channel, 19 to date. And all for doing videos like this, exposing what's actually going on. But I'm just going to play a little bit of this clip. Don't worry about the sound. It doesn't matter. You're just going to see people, throwing whatever they're throwing at the police cars. But right on East 33rd Street. No doubt about it. All set up, all staged. And I'd love to know where these people are. What makes me laugh is, these dissidents right here with their coronavirus masks on. It's just like, you got to be kidding me, man. So, anyway, it's just, they're trying to set people off. They got this going on all over on social media right now. People throwing whatever they're throwing at the police, and apparently not very hard objects, because it didn't even look like it did any damage to those police cars. But anyway, East 33rd Street. And this might be a little bit redundant if you watch my last video, but I got quite a few more observations in here as more information's come out. And again, I just want to go through all the signs of the psychological operation. Just right away, the victim's name sums to George Floyd. And if you're new here, gematria, very simple code. It's based on the alphabetic order, turning letters into numbers. A's 1, B's 2, C's 3, D's 4, E's 5, so on. George Floyd equals 119. Now their ciphers just using the alphabetic order and the rules of numerology. Very similar. Fraternal Order of Police equals 119. And if you're not familiar with the Fraternal Order of Police, it's the Masonic network of Freemasons that essentially control police. Masonry uses this code of letters and numbers. This is mostly a Masonic practice. But you can see in the Fraternal Order of Police's logo, the all-seeing eye. And you also see the Masonic handshake, and you see the checkerboard floor like they have in all their lodges. But that all-seeing eye, that's another thing that equals 119. And the all-seeing eye is the mind's eye, the pineal gland. And this is what mainstream propaganda is about: capturing the mind's eye of the masses, distracting the mind's eye of the masses, poisoning the mind's eye of the masses. This is what mainstream media does every single day, yet people are addicted to it, and people believe in it. It's mind control. Everybody knows there's nothing positive that comes out of the media. It's all bullshit. It's all confusion. It's all nonsense. And this entire story is clear bullshit. There's not a single bit of this story that makes any sense. And I'm going to make that even more clear in this video than I did in the last. And in the end of this, we'll even take the time to watch the video and just see how much bullshit is right there in front of your eyes that you should be able to see. Again, the one part of the body that sums to 33 is the neck. And the story is that the officer, for no reason, planted his knee into the back of the victim's neck. Why don't you try, if you really think this man died, why don't you have somebody in your house put their knee on the back of your neck, and hopefully they don't weigh too much because you don't want to snap your neck. But I just want you to see for yourself if it's even possible to be choked by putting pressure on the back of your neck. You'll realize it's not. It's not possible. Also, what's not possible is to scream out while you're being choked, because your air supply should be cut off if you're being choked and you can't really make any noise. But anyway, neck equals 33, like race war. Again, Rodney King beaten on March 3rd, 3-3. Trayvon Martin buried on March 3rd. This number used a million times over the years. Covered it so many times, breaking down the psyops, especially the racially divisive ones with the police. But anyway, race war 33, police 33, masonry 33, federal 33, secrecy 33, order 33. If you want to add to that list, the name Steven equals 33, as in Steven Jackson, who said this man looks like his twin. He spells his name PH. That's the 33 way. But in light of this coming out of Minnesota and masonry being 33, don't forget, a few years back, there was the killing of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling, both captured on video that same day by police. Two very divisive stories. And Philando Castile's father went on the news, and he was wearing all of his Masonic garb. Again, here's Philando Castile's uncle. That's what I meant to say a moment ago if I didn't say uncle. But Philando Castile, who was supposedly killed by police in his car in Minnesota not too many years back, when his uncle went on the news to talk about it, he was decked out in a Masonic pin, you know, the Masonic symbolism all over. Masonry. Masons. You know, this is their symbolism. This is their code. They control police, media, government. And that's the game, control. A way to control people is to keep them divided. It's not to say that all Masons are in on this, all Masons are responsible. It's a very small percentage. But was Philando Castile's uncle? You bet he was. Was he in on it? Of course he was. Was Trayvon Martin's father, who also went in the media with Masonic gear on, in on it? Of course he was. These ones expose themselves, putting their symbolism in plain sight, which they expect no one to see. And they get away with it again and again, putting the same numbers in your face again and again and again. East 33rd Street. Here's Trayvon Martin's father, you know. Remember this Freemason compass and square. We're going to come back to that with Steven Jackson. Also, just one of the things that really stood out about this obvious psyop, which makes no sense, what kind of police vehicle has the license plate that says police? Because this one did. Have you ever seen that in your life? I've seen all sorts of police vehicles in my life. Never once have I seen one that has a license plate that says police. Are these even real police officers? Are these like the Hollywood police in costume with an actor down here? Again, Rodney King beaten on March 3rd, 3-3, which set off riots, which I brought up earlier today before we had the story of the rioting on East 33rd Street. What I've learned since then is this man was pronounced dead. George Floyd, that is. He was pronounced dead at Hennepin County Medical Center, which sums to 137, the 33rd prime number. What do you know? What do you know? This pattern comes together all the time if you're new here. All the time. For the record, just to give you a good example, Washington, D.C. equals 137. Government, 137. Authority, 137. 137 is the 33rd prime. Washington, D.C. is named after the 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason George Washington. Masonry, 33. Secrecy, 33. Order, 33. Federal, 33. George Washington has the 333-foot monument built in his honor in Alexandria, Virginia. Okay, so again, what was different about this story is how fast there was a response from the police firing the officers. This isn't normally the way it goes. Over the years, normally there's a drawn-out process, and the officers are acquitted, even though it's obvious that they shouldn't be acquitted, right? They're shooting people in the back who are unarmed. You know, they're doing all these things that are wrong again and again, and then they get acquitted. And who knows, this guy might end up getting acquitted too, but he's already been fired a day later, which is not normal. Normally it doesn't go this way. Normally the police department protects the officer, doesn't reveal the name. Recall years ago with Michael Brown. That was back when I was new. A lot of people caught on right away with Michael Brown because before they put out the officer's name, Darren Wilson, before that happened, like a week before it happened, right when the news broke, I said, just watch. When they put out the officer's name, I guarantee you his name will sum to 33 in gematria. And then the name came out Darren, which equals 33. And then he had blonde hair and blue eyes, and he was wearing a Blues t-shirt, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. That happened again in Missouri, not far from St. Louis, home of the Blues. Just won a Stanley Cup by the numbers. But this big viral news story in the firing of the officers, it takes place on the 147th day of the year. Jewish gematria is a very important cipher. Police equals 147. We've seen plenty of police riddles over the years with 147. In light of Freemasonry controlling police, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, which is this neon green cipher, the word Freemasons 147, conspiracies 147, and a whole lot of other things. But 147th day of the year, big viral story, making all the waves, and having to do with police. Again, this is news by the numbers all day, every single day, and it always points in one direction, the Masonic orders. Whether it's Freemasonry or the Jesuits or the Knights Templar, etc. They're all Masonic orders. So again, the day this is going viral, it's a date with 71 numerology, police brutality 71, African American 71. You're hearing these words everywhere in the media. As a reminder, the movie about Nat Turner, who was killed November 11th, 1831, which was a date with 71 numerology. The movie about his life, The Birth of a Nation. Again, they said it grossed only $7.1 million. It was disappointing. 7.1 like African American 71, like Birth of a Nation 71. Again, the same numbers used in the same repetitive ways. And essentially what they were doing with the Nat Turner movie was saying, look, nobody gives a shit about black history. This movie was supposed to make big money. We hyped this movie, we advertised it, nobody even came out to see it. And is that even true? Is it true that it only made $7.1 million? Probably not. But it's just another way to, subtly shame black people. Nobody cares about your history. Not even when we, the false ones, make a movie about it. For the people calling in, I'll take calls in a moment. Just as a reminder, 71 is the 20th prime number. We've seen a lot of this number this year in 2020, as we predicted we would. 71, the 20th prime, death 20. This is another story of death. Today's date numerology is also 35, which corresponds with knee, which is the main event in the story, that he put his knee into the back of his neck and choked him to death. And then again, what stands out right away is with all these psyops that are all connected, and we've taken them all apart. I've written a book about all of these incidents plus way more. Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, they're all psyops, and they've all had the same attorney, Benjamin Crump. The surname Crump is 71. He becomes the attorney on the 71 date numerology. It's just the same recycled garbage again and again and again. The name Michael's 33, Cleveland's 33. That's where Tamir Rice was killed in Cleveland. Again, Michael's 33, Darren's 33. His shooter was Darren Wilson. Trayvon Martin, his initials are TM. T's the 20th letter, M's the 13th. 20 plus 13 is 33. He was buried on 3-3. They get the same numbers encoded in all of the rituals. And Then just what literally kills me is seeing that he was killed on 38th Street. Again, if you're new here. If you're new here, stick around and see how often I talk about 38, death, murder, and killing. It's pretty much a daily event. But this guy's killed on 38th Street in this nonsensical story. Deaths 38, murders 38, killings 38, RIPs 38, Minnesota's 38, Trayvon's 38, Tamir's 38. You could add to that list Florida's 38. Philando's 38, as in Philando Castile, with the Masonic uncle on TV who was killed in Minnesota not too long ago. On that same day, there was the killing in Louisiana of Alton Sterling caught on video. Louisiana's another 38 state. There's only a few states that equal 38. Louisiana, Minnesota, Florida. That might be it. There might be one more that I'm not thinking of, but anyway. Also, now getting to the Steven Jackson part, who's 42 years old right now. Steven Jackson, the basketball player, said George Floyd is his twin. And consider, Minneapolis, big basketball history. The Lakers originally from Minneapolis. But anyway, this happened on Memorial Day. The killing was reportedly yesterday. Memorial Day is 181, the 42nd prime number. Number that's coded all over black history, 181 and 42. If you were with me February 2019, we took apart so many 181, 42 stories in black history, it was sick. And one of those stories is what allowed us to see that Virginia was going to win the college basketball championship months in advance, which they did. Anyhow, 181, the 42nd prime. The month of May's 42. The name Martin's 42, as in Trayvon Martin. As in the sitcom Martin, where he lives in apartment 42. Ferguson 42, as in Michael Brown. Missouri 42. Slavery 42. Brothers 42. The N-word 42. And then you got 42-year-old Steven Jackson. That's how old he is right now. 42 years old. Turned 42 on April 5th. He says this guy looks like his twin. And that's what everyone's emphasizing in the news. And twin equals 42. And they always bring 42 and 59 together in these stories. These stories of murdering black people. They do it again and again and again. Again, the first book I wrote, chapter 18, is about the shaming in the ritual murder of black people by a code of 42 and 59 and why it's done again and again. I'll get to the 59 piece in a moment. There's a 59 here too. I'm going to show it to you. But I just want you to see that from Steven Jackson's April 5th birthday to his reported death May 22nd was 47 days later. And again, that Masonic compass set at 47 degrees. For the Scottish right out of France, France equals 47. To attribute to the 47th problem of Euclid, which is about how to establish foundation. Foundation's 47, but so is policeman, so is cop, so is government, so is authority. So, what are the odds that Steven Jackson says this guy looks like his twin? And in my opinion, they don't really look that much alike. But at the same time, maybe it is Steven Jackson and they put some makeup on him. But anyway, again, if you're new here, these are numbers we talk about all the time. I normally I'm in my office with a license plate behind me that says, what is 47? So anyway, 47 days from his birthday, and keep in mind news equals 47, and this is a popular news headline right now. But it's just the same old BS every single day. And what makes me sad is some of you guys are like, Zach, I normally agree with you, but, man, I was watching the video and I saw spit coming out of his lips. And I'm just like, holy shit, man, that's all it takes to fool you? Do you guys want me to slobber out of my mouth right now? Because, that's something that's very easy to do. If that's what it takes for you to believe some bullshit, a guy slobbering out of his mouth, I mean, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but that's pretty pathetic, Let a little drool come out of your lips. Don't sign up for detective school. That's all I got to say. Because A, you can't be choked on the back of your neck, and B, you can't scream out if you are being choked. C, police officers don't drive cars that say police on the license plate. And D, the entire story is obvious bullshit. Police officers often are scumbags. Trust me, I've had plenty of encounters with the police. But they're not even this scummy. No police officer would ever do what was done in that video. Just sit on somebody with their knee into the back of their neck while they're not resisting, while they know they're on video. No one is that dumb in the police force. and you'll find a lot of the dumbest people on this planet in the police force. I mean, the story is just obvious bullshit from A to Z. There's not one thing about this story that looks legitimate.